Damu. Back to you, Brenda.
Very interesting, Branji, because we did the debate, and data coming from it, of course, we saw more people are preferring mitumba, and they're saying they're unique, they're rare, and they would rather wear that compared to buying an item from the shop where you'll find numerous people who have it.
That's right, and we have someone to talk about that today, right?
Of course, you know, Novet
Akinyi from Novet Closet. Wow,
a thrift
kind
shop.
of wordplay, yeah.
Online shop, yeah. Novet, welcome to the program. And of course, you are an entrepreneur who has ventured into this specific mitumba industry. How has it been? How much capital did you start with? And how did you know that mitumba would work for you?
Well, Brenda, the good thing about mitumba business is you can start with any capital depending on what kind of business you want to start. For example, if you want to start clothes, you could start with 1,000 shillings. If you want to start shoes, you can start with 2,000 shillings. It is not a capital-intensive business per se. So how I knew mitumba business would work for me is because I'm a person who was really interested in style. I love trends, I love fashion. So when I wanted to start a business, the first thought was, what kind of business would I start that aligns with my passion? And at the time I was a first year in campus, so mitumba would allow me, the capital I had, I would only start a mitumba business. So that's how I started, and so far so good. This is my 5th year doing the business.
So, all right, and I'm sure you had demand from some of your colleagues back in campus. That is what drove you to even venture deeper into the business.
Come again?
I'm sure you had a lot of buyers from your campus colleagues who are buying your products. Was this true? Was that demand came from there?
Because when I started hawking. I was hawking around the hostels, you know, when we live in school, so I'd go around rooms. Then I started with the tops. Then with time, people would tell me, how about you bring skirts? How about you bring dresses? How about you bring trousers? So it is the demand that helped me to expand the business, you know, of course from the customers. So that's how I continue to increase and expand the business.
Amazing. Novet, I'm particularly interested in the transition between you starting to sell, like literally hawking, and then now you have leveraged on the online platform. Talk to us about that transition. Is the experience the same, and how different is it selling physically and selling online?
Oh, the experience is way better, and the transition has been amazing because, you know, when I started hawking is really time consuming, and sometimes, you know, you won't get customers. So, you know, when I started, my customers will tell me back in 2017, WhatsApp business, or rather online business, was not that as it is right now. So my customers will tell me, how about you start a WhatsApp group where you can reach more customers beyond Rongai, beyond Multimedia University. And so, you know, I started a WhatsApp group. I was a bit hesitant about it at first because, you know, I wasn't sure how it would work. You know, when you're changing the business, it's a bit, you know, you are hesitant. You're like, is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? So I started with WhatsApp. I started with one group. Then I started getting orders out of Rongai, out of Multimedia. So like, this could actually work. I started doing deliveries around the country. So, and then I had one WhatsApp group, then it got full. Now I had to do another one, it got full. And then I had to now venture out of WhatsApp now, you know, to get customers who are not related to me, or customers that, you know, I just know. So I got to Instagram, and now I'm trying Facebook as well. So the journey has been nice. Online business is good, it's convenient, it's not time consuming. I can get customers from literally any geographical position, you know, everyone can access you, you know, on an online platform. So the transition has been great. I love it here, and, you know, I'm here to see what's more to come.
Amazing. Let's get a little deeper into it. So you have transitioned, of course, from selling physically, now you're selling online. You said the experience is amazing. So how many units perhaps do you sell, and which is your biggest demographic market? And also pair it closely with things like, you know, the experience. Do you just resell, or do you do a bit of repurposing also? Because understandably, Brenda, there are people who prefer their dresses a certain way, there are people who prefer their shirts a certain way. So do you repurpose, or you just do reselling? And then what are the numbers looking like?
The numbers depend on the clients really and the demand, and my most wanted goods is dresses. So in a week I could say on a good week 100 units, because I sell also different things. I sell dresses, I sell skirts, I sell tops, I sell trousers. So it depends. So 100 units in a good week, maybe 50 or 60 on a bad week. Yeah, that's it. And Yes, I resell, but also sometimes it depends on what the customers want. Sometimes I also do orders. Maybe if maybe you want something different from what I sell, you can tell me, oh, I want this. I want you to bring this for me. Then when you go to the market, I can source that for you. So it's not necessarily what you really post, because you can also order from, whatever you want.
Brenda, you want to buy from her, right?
Absolutely, why not? Novette, how exactly does it work? Where do you get your products from? I'm sure the bulk of them are European. Is it that you do your stocking every week, every month? And who are your main suppliers?
So when you go to, there are so many thrift markets in Nairobi, the biggest ones being Gikomba, Mudurwa, and Thai market. So for me, I go to Gikomba. So, Gikomba, they source from different countries, Australia, Canada, UK, and China, and, other many countries. So I like the UK and the China ones. They are quality. They are what is trending with the customers. The customers love them. So that's what I do. And so I go to the market around 5 to 6 a.m. in the morning. And by 10 or 11 a.m., I'm done. I have my suppliers. When you're in the business for long, now you don't have to walk, around the market for so long to source for, products. In time, you get your suppliers. They tell you, come on this day, and on this day I have opened the bills. So they open bills. I haven't started dealing with bills yet, but, in a few years, maybe I'll start dealing with that. So once I go to the market, I get the products, go back home. Sometimes I iron. Then, I have my scheduled posts on social media, of course, on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. I have different times for them. So, for example, on Instagram, I'll post at 6 p.m. On WhatsApp, I do 8 p.m. And then on Facebook at 5 p.m. Different social media require different strategies to work. So that's what I do. Then after the posting, you start the delivery process and the customer service.
So when you're doing your reconciliations at the end of the month, the bulk of the cost of doing the business, what percentage would you gauge it for? And then when you're doing your deductions, about how much in percentage terms do you make in terms of profitability and revenues?
Well, I do mine weekly, to help me gauge what is moving, what is not moving. So I do it weekly. Most of the time, the profits are good. The profit margins are good, especially during times like end months or the start of the month. So that's when I gauge mine mostly. The profits are good. Sometimes more than 100%, sometimes 80%, because, when you sell, not all products will go. And I advise, people in the thrift business, if your products don't go for, maybe you post them 3 times or 5 times, they don't go, I would advise you to do flash sales, so you can do discounts. So that depends on, how the sales are. It's not like, a constant, figure or percentage that I can say this is it. So it varies, yeah.
And Novette, would you consider sourcing your products from the local market? Because we have had an outcry from manufacturers indicating that they should be increasing duties on this importation because they are quite frankly killing the textile industry. Do you think you would in future, considering that now it's still in the formulation stages with the Ministry of Industrialization, but is it something that you would consider, and what would make it lucrative for you from a government perspective?
That's a debate that's ongoing, that, as we bring the imports of Mtumba business, because they are, less expensive and, they are creating a lot of jobs for people. At the same time, it's killing the textile industry. Yes, I would highly consider buying from local manufacturers. As someone, my long-term goal is, to have my fashion, cloth line one day. So, of course, I'll want to, source materials, resources from here, raw materials, get my labor people from here. So, yes, I would highly consider, but that would also depend on the governments, to the taxes on the cotton industries and the textile industries to reduce, and also to get the Kenyan market ready for new clothes. Because per se, not every, most people are not that open to buying new clothes per se. And, we have to get the market ready and also to make the designers visible in the industry and in the market. So I would highly consider that.
So creativity and at the same time a policy formulation from the government will definitely foster this?
Come again?
Creativity in terms of, the concerns that were raised earlier is the fact that if I buy a new product locally, high chances I'll find it with someone else. So you're saying designers need to be creative in the sense of how they make these dresses, how they design these trousers and pants, as opposed to finding a common product in the market. And at the same time, having a government policy that will make it easier and not expensive to source for the materials locally.
Well, because sourcing for materials is very expensive, getting raw materials, and then again there are tax, then also the process of designing, manufacturing, developing, you have to market them. There's a lot involved, so definitely the prices will be higher. So if the government would come in and lower the tax and the tariff, the duty on the raw materials that are locally manufactured, that would make it easier for designers to also make the clothes affordable to the local market. The main reason why most people don't buy new clothes is also not just because the designs are more common, it's also because they're more expensive. Maybe you get a dress at 1,500 and now someone is thinking, what if I could get the same dress at maybe 500 shillings? But what they don't know is there's a lot involved before, for the local manufacturers of, in the textile industries. And also creativity, of course. Second-hand clothing, why people love them is because they have a variety of designs. If, for example, the top I'm wearing, maybe I want to meet someone who's wearing the same top today or tomorrow. But then with new designers or in the country, if maybe I buy a dress here, I'll see it with someone else. So there would be need for diverse designs and a wide variety for people to choose from if we are to make them ready for the market.
Very well. Now let's get back to the experience. Which has been your selling experience, both online and physically? Like, which was your best year? What made it stand out for you?
My best year was 2020. Last year was hard. Last year was very hard because, the outbreak of corona definitely affected all businesses. In March, the government banned the import of, Mtumba business in the country up to August. So that was very difficult because, we couldn't get clothes to sell. The people, the suppliers, or if you could get clothes to sell, definitely the prices doubled up. Something maybe you were getting at 100 shillings and selling at 500 shillings, now 200 shillings. And now you are understanding, there's the increase in prices, inflation. At the same time, people are not working. People don't have, the money to pay for this product. So last year was definitely very difficult for, literally everyone, but especially for people in the Mtumba business. 2020 was a good year. 2021 I started on a good start. I'm very excited. So far, so good.
Yeah, amazing. Novette, someone is watching you right now and they want to get into this business. What do you tell them in 30 seconds?
What I can tell you, it's not rocket science. At the same time, it's not a walk in the park. It's not, when you're doing an online business, it's not just about going to source your products and coming to post them, and then clients will come out of nowhere to buy from you. You have to engage with your clients. When you post quality products, first of all, you have to get quality products. Before anything else, you can't get poor quality products and expect people to buy from you. So have quality products, post quality pictures, post the price. I know most people who do online business don't post the price, and sometimes you might lose a lot of clients because you don't post your prices. Maybe I can look at it and say, it's actually affordable, let me buy it. Or let me say, it's not affordable for now, but I can get it next week. So post your price. Engage with your customers. When you post, make sure you engage with your customers and talk to them well. Customer feedback, very important, of course. Post reviews, because it's an online business. Most people will want to buy from you if they can see the reviews. They can see someone said, oh, I bought a dress from you, it fit nicely, I like it, the delivery service was faster. Someone is more likely to buy from there. When you post your content, engage. Post an opinion. You can post memes to spark reactions. Don't just post your products and leave them there. Another thing I would say is to be patient with yourself. Online business is not that easy, especially with now there's a lot of competition. There's that explode in the e-commerce business. There's still competition. Almost everyone is selling clothes nowadays. When you meet someone, oh, I sell clothes, oh, I sell clothes too. So what makes you to deal with that competition is, what makes you stand out? Are your products quality? Are your prices good? Do you advertise well? You can also make use of advertisements. Nowadays, the Facebook business, WhatsApp business, and Instagram, there's promos as low as 200 shillings per day, to reach more customers and to get customers in different geographical locations rather than where you are. And another thing would be, yes, that's pretty much it.
We know that there will be conversions, but then Brenda, she really stands out. I mean, we are looking forward to having that clothing line of hers, right?
Yeah, of course. I particularly for this day, because it's Killian's birthday,
okay.
I'm thinking of getting him a shirt. He needs a new shirt.
Oh, he needs... Oh,
yeah,
ouch.
yeah.
Did you just say that out loud?
Thank you so much for joining us on Business Cafe. I've been your host, Brenda Kerubo.
And my name is Brian George Otieno. Tomorrow, let's finish up the week on Business Cafe right here. Simplest same time. Akisa Wandera is up next with News Center. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.